Let me ask you this, because he's in a position right now where he needs a lot of friends. And I get the bully pulpit, and I get that it can be very effective. He's out this morning, of course. You saw one of the tweets that the viewers did that Blake read. Here's another tweet from this morning that I want to share with the viewers, him tweeting about Mitch McConnell. And he writes, "The only problem I have with Mitch McConnell is after hearing repeal and replace for 7 years, he failed. That never should have happened." Well, Kellyanne, he's right. It shouldn't have failed. I mean, when you have that much time, I get it, and I know he's mad, and I know he's frustrated. But let me ask you, does the strategy of going after the people that you need right now to get stuff done, does that really pay off?
Well, but I disagree he's going after them. He basically says at the beginning of that tweet, the only problem I have with Mitch McConnell is that health care reform failed. Look, the president is channeling the frustration and consternation of millions of Americans, Trish, who don't understand why the Congress has been talking about this, running on it successfully for 7 years. The president's been here for 7 months and is the one who's ready to sign into law something that would repeal these awful Obamacare taxes and penalties that are in the billions, that would help the people who are without health care, without options whatsoever to access it, that would expand health savings accounts. For the first time ever, you can use that money to pay for your premiums. That would help our governors with Medicaid funding. It had $45 billion for opioid addiction funding. It had so many things in that health care bill, and it was dead. It didn't pass. So there is frustration and consternation. But look, the president and Leader McConnell have also made very clear in this last day that they are committed to working together. They're set to meet after the recess. They want to do tax reform. They could do health care reform if the Senate is still serious about it. We've been talking to different governors here. We've been considering the Cassidy-Graham bill quite a bit. That's got new talk and consideration here. They certainly have to fund the wall. They have to get serious about border security, the debt ceiling. There's the spending bill. There's so much that we need to do here as a team. But everybody got elected. Every Republican in this town, in the House, the Senate, and indeed the White House, got here in part because they vowed to repeal and replace Obamacare. The president is ready to make that happen. The question is, are others?
Well, apparently not. Apparently not, because they couldn't get it done. And now you run the risk that maybe tax reform doesn't happen either. And Kellyanne, I guess I would just move it forward to the midterms. I think getting tax reform done would help to save the Republicans. If they don't get it done, it's not going to be pretty. And let me just fast forward that a little bit. If you assume that they don't get it done and they get voted out of office and suddenly you got the Democrats in control, you got Maxine Waters out there calling every day for impeachment. You're not going to have a whole lot of friends. Are you running a serious risk, not just the Republican Party, but the president himself, if they don't get reelected?
Well, they all need to run their own campaigns, but I will tell you this. Traditionally, the party in power suffers losses in the midterms. 1982 for Reagan, 2010 for Obama, certainly 1994 for Clinton. At the same time, the Democrats are the one with a very rough electoral map in the Senate in 2018. Trish, they're defending 25 incumbent Democratic Senate seats. The Republicans are defending 8. And in 10 of those states, 10 of those 25 states, President Trump won last year. And in 5 of those states, he won with significant double digits. So I think the question really is for Heidi Heitkamp in North Dakota and for Mr. Manchin in West Virginia, for Ms. McCaskill in Missouri, for these other folks who, Joe Donnelly certainly in Indiana, all these states that Donald Trump won and won handily. The question for these senators are you going to listen to your constituents who want you to give them health care coverage and meaningful, consequential, historic tax reform? Or are you going to listen to the far left leadership of your party? And that was a generous term to say there's a leadership in the Democratic Party. Tom Perez, disastrous first 6 months on the job. Nancy Pelosi never has anything positive or constructive to say. This better deal that they released a few weeks ago. I mean, what's better about it? Where's the deal? They don't have a message. Look, the Democratic Party right now,
well, they have a message. It's anti-Trump. It's that the Republicans are racist, Kellyanne. I mean, I just think that is perhaps one of the worst things you can say about someone, and that is what they are saying.
Well, it's one of the worst lies you can certainly tell about an entire party and the president and everyone else, and it's not going to work. How do we know that? Well, it didn't work in 2016. Hillary had all the king's horses, all the king's men, all the media, all their phony polls, and they had, and she, as Van Jones on CNN has said, lit $1 billion on fire. What was her message? Trump's terrible and I'm not Trump. That failed. He won states like Wisconsin, a Republican hadn't won since 1988. They have the same message, which is to say no message, no money, no moxie, no momentum, no meaningful solutions for anything. You can't beat somebody with no one. They are bereft of ideas, bereft of leadership. That's the modern Democratic Party. And when they do have ideas, they're pulled all the way to the far left. Where are the blue dog Democrats? Where are the tax-cutting, Second Amendment honoring, pro-life Democrats? They've been purged from the party.
Well, I think there's a lot of changes that are happening, and you guys are in part responsible for that, because you got a lot of people that typically would have voted for the Democratic ticket, and they voted for this president, Kellyanne. Very quickly, before I let you go, what is the likelihood of a shutdown?
Well, nobody wants the government to be shut down, and so hypothetically speaking, you can have a short-term CR, and then, you know, you're talking about a spending bill to be fought about in the future, and the fact is nobody wants a shutdown, but there are many different ways to avoid that. And I want to say at the same time, the president has made very clear he ran on the wall, he won on the wall, and he is dead serious about building that wall and getting the funding for that wall. And we know it's popular, particularly when people hear that it would be supplemented with additional agents and additional technologies. People want borders in this country. 47% decrease in illegal boarding crossings since he got here.
That's good news. Congratulations on that one. Hey, Kellyanne, so good to see you. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Okay.
You got it.